It's so interesting to me how wellness is an industry. Wellness is life. Wellness is just living in a way that's optimal for our physical and mental well being, our existence. And yet, somehow, we as a society tend to look at it like we have to fit wellness into all of the other thousands of things going on related to family, work, raising children, having friendships. Now, all of these things matter too. Heck, yes, they do. They bring about a lot of joy in life. And so, for that reason, I think it's so important that we don't necessarily look at wellness as this extra separate thing. All of these are things that we need to have in our lives. And so we're oftentimes looking for this elusive balance, this unicorn that is truly not attainable. We can hunt it, we can plan for it, all that we want. But I'm challenging you today to not look for the work-life balance or to somehow balance your wellness with your happiness. Instead, all of these things matter in your life and warrant the time. Ooh, there's that buzzword, time. You don't have enough of it, right? So I'm going to talk about this today and how we can actually juggle life while losing weight. And I speak from experience because I'm making it happen for myself and I want to help make it happen for you too. So stay tuned. We're going to get into that right now. Hello, good people. You made it. So glad you could join me today. I'm Erica, and this is the Incognito Athlete Podcast. This is going to be a great episode today. So happy that you are here. So who the heck am I? Well, if you haven't joined us before, I'm Erica, and I'm a woman out to make change in my life to be happier and healthier. Probably like you are too. Well, on my own journey, I literally unlocked the mystery behind weight loss. It's all in our mindset. And unlike the work-life balance, it's not quite as elusive. In fact, now as a wellness mindset coach, I am making it my mission to share all of the fitness, lifestyle, and mindset tips that I learn with you so that you can also get off the weight loss roller coaster and live a life that is happy and healthy on your own terms. During today's episode, I want to talk about a few things. So let me outline that for you. We're going to talk about how balance in life isn't possible and a different approach to looking at this in a way that is absolutely less stressful. We're also going to look at how to prioritize the things that truly matter to you, what you actually want, and not what you may think you want. Then I'm actually going to talk about 3 major tips of how I know that you can make more time for the things in your life that are most important. Sound like a deal? All right, let's do this. So first of all, let's talk about balance. So let's talk about this. How many times have you attempted to strike up the perfect balance in your life? Maybe you felt like things were a little too one-sided. Work was taking up a little more of your time. Or maybe you felt like you were giving all your time to your family and friends, but not enough to yourself. I get the idea that you want to strike up a balance in your world. There's something very peaceful about balance. Our life, our world is built on balance, yin and yang, night and day, right? That's an innate desire. However, it is not realistic for us. Do you have only 2 things going on in your life? Hell to the no. You've got plenty of things going on, and I named a number of them earlier. You have them on your mental list. I know it. Now, instead of that list being this daunting checklist in your head, I want you to think of these things as little balls in your life, ones that maybe you are juggling. This analogy is one I haven't been able to find the source on very well. So whether it came from former Coca-Cola CEO Brian Dyson or somebody else, I'm throwing the credit outside of my own. The idea is that all of these things in our life are a ball that we are juggling. However, they're not all the same. We have rubber balls and we have glass balls. Obviously, the glass balls are the ones that are a little bit more fragile. If you drop them, they may break and it may create a problem for you. We certainly don't want that to happen. Meanwhile, the rubber balls are ones that you can bounce. They're not as fragile, and you might be able to actually bounce them away, deprioritize them, because they will bounce back later to you. Catch my drift? Now, if you check this out online, there are some explanations where there are only 5 balls in work, family, health, friends, and spirit. Although I really like that, I kind of want us to just look at these balls as things that are priorities for us in the now. Now that we understand that balance is not what we're after, instead we are just playing this juggling game, let's look at how to prioritize those things. Now, if you're looking at these major rocks in your life, like how are you going to prioritize work over family or even your own spirit over your family? That can be a challenge. And that's why I want us to really look at what is going on with you right now. What are your goals? What are your priorities? What do you really want? If you'd like, pause this episode right now. Write down some of those things that come to mind. Again, what are your goals? What are your priorities? And what do you really want? That will help you to really focus on what's going on and how you can prioritize your glass from your rubber balls in your life. I also have a free download if you want to access that right now at unmaskedwellness.com. There's also a link in the show notes so you can export that and do this exercise live with me. Now, once you have a little bit of clarity on what you really want, what is in your heart of hearts right now, then that's when we can begin. Now, one of the reasons you're probably listening to this episode is because you are out to be a healthier and happier person. You're probably looking to maybe lose weight, just be healthier in your physical being and maybe even mental too. And so think about that, especially when we're doing this exercise. I want to focus on you, okay? Everybody else matters too, but no one's going to get what they need from you if you are not well. Remember that. Now, whether it's the middle of the week for you or you're sitting at the weekend with another week looming ahead, doesn't matter. What tasks and responsibilities do you have in the week to come that align with and support those priorities that you listed at the top? You can think about those things next. And then, of course, what are the other things that need to get done? Do you have a carpool that you need to do today with the kiddos? Do you need to take the dog to the vet this week? I really like this approach of looking at things 1 week at a time. There is value in routine, but how often is our life a routine? There's always random stuff going on. And so I do encourage you to be more flexible. I have found a lot of peace in that. It can be a little unnerving at times because we like structure so much, but what we're doing here is actually a structural exercise. How funny is that? Now, if you're anything like me, this list that you've got going is exceedingly long. It's like, oh my God, how am I even going to make it through this week? I am going to pass out from exhaustion before I even reach Friday. I hear you. And so this is where the rubber ball versus the glass ball exercise really comes into play. What are your glass balls for the week? Do you have a recital that you need to attend? Do you have some budgeted time for your family? Do you have some me time that's important to you? That exercise that's so important to your wellness goals. Consider these things. What are your glass balls? What are the things that if they shatter, they will break the momentum that you have toward the goals of what you really want, what really matters to you? Then assess everything else. Decide if those are rubber balls, things that can be bounced back, maybe even postponed until next week. And look at your list now. See if you have a clearer picture of how you need to prioritize your week and how it is going to be able to be doable for you and less stressful, right? Aren't we all after a little less stress in life? And those things that you've deemed a rubber ball or even one that is not a ball to be juggled for the week, just tack that on to be reevaluated next week, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, exercise, meal prep, sleep, those things are glass balls, okay? If you are wanting to feel better about yourself, you cannot postpone those things. They are vital. If you are rolling your eyes at me, that's okay. I'm not offended. This is exactly why I'm going to wrap up this episode with 3 major tips on how you're going to make sure that those glass balls do not drop this week. Okay. And that you don't have to sit and argue with yourself as to why maybe it's okay if you skip your exercise. All right. Trust me, these are things that I, even begrudgingly, tried myself and it works. So here we go. Tip number 1. Once you have your list created, determine the time that's needed for those items. Have you ever actually considered how much time it might take to complete a task? So, like, how long does it actually take to empty the dishwasher? That's something I hate doing. But when I did it the other day, I was done in probably about 3 or 4 minutes. Something that I would put off all day long took 3 or 4 minutes. I probably could have gotten it done in the morning, and then everybody probably would have put their dishes in the dishwasher, and then I probably wouldn't have had to deal with a messy sink. Do you see the snowball effect here? It's so helpful to actually be able to ascertain how much time something takes. Let's look at it from a wellness standpoint. How much time does it take to do a workout? This is the thing that even sometimes I don't want to do. We get tired. It's hot. Who wants to go and kill themselves? I used to say with burpees, like, I don't want to throw myself on the ground right now, okay? So how much time does it take to actually do a workout? No, it doesn't have to be an hour long. Even if you're having an exceedingly busy week, a 20-minute HIIT workout can be excellent and contribute to your wellness goals. Also, 20 minutes is nothing, okay? 20 minutes. I did the math. You actually have 72 20-minute segments in a day. So surely one of them can work for you even when you're feeling overwhelmed by some of the other things you got to get done for the week. And if you're not sure about the time that it might take to do something, just set a reasonable time limit. Do what works for you. Reevaluate daily if you need to. Just be honest with yourself and stay committed to the commitments that you made for yourself. Okay, tip number 2, batch together similar tasks. Multitasking can actually lead to us spinning in circles. So I really like this concept of batching things together. I'm actually working on this right now. It's different for me, so it requires a little bit more planning. So the idea is that rather than doing the same things every single day, every single week, I'm creating these power sessions of doing like the same thing at one time. It helps me to focus on one thing at one time, and I stay in that headspace, feeling a whole lot less disjointed and honestly pressured to transition and go through so many different things. My mind just really likes it a whole lot better. A prime example for you is actually meal prepping. And I know I talk about this a lot. It's just serving me so well. In fact, if you are interested to learn a little bit more about meal prepping, I encourage you to go back and listen to episode 20, The High Price of Not Meal Prepping. It's a good one for you. Anywho, it's a prime example. So instead of you preparing your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner every single day, you take a block of time every Sunday or whatever day of the week works for you, and you prepare your meals for the entire week. It provides you with extra time. It literally saves me time. Upwards of like 10 to 20 hours per week on meals, depending on the week. And so then my final tip for you, my third tip, is blocking out your time for your biggest priorities. Okay, so all of those glass balls that you identified, you need to mark off time for them. You can do this, as I said, on a weekly basis to account for your varied schedule, or you can block it out and just conserve that time, the same time every day, every week. Okay. So for example, maybe like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to get up at 6 a.m. to do your workout. And that's just how you're going to roll. I like to actually look at my week ahead and say, okay, these are the obligations that I have, and these are the varied times where I'm going to fit in my exercise. Amy Porterfield is a marketing expert, and she talks about this as her tiger time. These are these precious blocks of time that no one can interfere with. Okay. Once that block time is labeled, no alternate invitation from a friend or work task can take over that tiger time. So, for the purposes of this conversation, let's focus on your wellness. So, your tiger time could be anything for your workouts, meal prepping, or even just stretching and mobility, whatever you need for your body. Once you block off that time, you cannot give it up for something else. It is a glass ball, and that is the time that you have reserved for that priority. Once you commit to this idea, to this concept, to this process, it helps you to understand the gravity, no pun intended, of dropping that ball. Because if you give up your tiger time, if you drop those glass balls, if you skip your workouts, you will find yourself at the end of the week wanting to step on the scale and going, why didn't I lose any weight? It's because we dropped the ball. I don't want you to drop the ball. I want you to stay in motion, keep juggling, keep going. The glory of what I have laid out for you is that it's all up to you. You can do this however you want and for whatever priorities truly matter to you. Now, as I said earlier, I do have a free download resource for you. The blank canvas of coming up with a new plan can be extremely stressful. And I'm not here to create stress for you whatsoever, but rather give you a tool that can really help you. So check that out in the show notes. You can check out other resources at unmaskedwellness.com so that you can feel less pressure and more in control of your responsibilities to yourself, to your health and wellness. Please also remember that you can subscribe for weekly emails from me for insights, inspiration, and information on how to live unmasked. If you're looking for additional support, I'm here to coach you. Contact me at erica@unmaskedwellness.com. I'm so grateful that you were here to listen today. I hope that this has been helpful for you. But remember this, today is a new day, a day for a fresh start. So make today yours and make it the day you go after your dreams. I believe in you. Talk to you next week.